So back in 2014, Sony released the 20th anniversary PlayStation 4. Now this was a fairly rare and exclusive PS4. I wouldn't say it's the rarest PS4 that you can get, but it's definitely up there, probably in the top 5 of rarest PS4s you can get, with only 12,300 of these ever made. Now, this particular system, when it went on sale, sold out almost immediately, and I was very fortunate to get my hands on one. But as you can see, it's still in the shrink wrap. This has been sitting in my closet for almost 7 years, and I thought today on the channel we're gonna unbox this and take a look inside and power it up, because one thing that I've learned about being a collector as I get older is there's really no reason to keep some of these items sealed anymore. Like, my desire to kind of resell things is pretty low. Like, I'm not really about like reselling anything. I don't want to try to flip this and make as much money as I can. I'd rather just enjoy what I have, and I tend to just basically open up everything that I own and use. So this system has been sitting in my closet literally for almost 7 years. And I thought on the channel it would be a really cool idea to open it up, because this is a pretty unique system. It is a limited edition PS4 that has the same type of theme as an original PlayStation, and I'll show you what that looks like when we unbox this. It also includes a 500 gigabyte hard drive built in, and it does come with some extras as well. But this is the box, and it's pretty chunky, as you can see. Now, it does come with the PlayStation 4, a DualShock 4 wireless controller, a PlayStation camera. You also get a vertical stand, as well as some other printed material as well. Now, what's interesting about this particular system is that there was only 12,300 of these ever made, and these are individually numbered. So I'm not even sure what number that I ever got, because you obviously have to open up and find out by looking at the system itself. Now, I know there's probably some people out there that are thinking you're absolutely crazy for doing this, but honestly, I really don't have any desire to keep this sealed. And it's not something that I'm really interested in selling and trying to resell to get profit for. So I just figure let's go ahead and just open this up. So poke this piece here, and that's really all we need to do. But you can see it's in plastic, so we are breaking the seal on this thing. So let's go ahead and open this puppy up. And this is in absolute mint condition. There's not even any scuff marks or any type of dents or gouges or anything on this. I've really taken care of this. So once we take the outer wrapping off, you can see inside we've got this nice sleek black PlayStation 20th anniversary box here with the rainbow colored logo. A nice throwback to the old days. And we just lift this up, and this is what we get inside. Now, the first thing that I notice here is the number. This is 12,110 out of 12,300. So this is a pretty high number PlayStation 4. But as you can see, the packaging in here is awesome. I love the care that they've taken with this particular system. It's something that you can easily put back in the box and ship out if you need to. So what do we have in here? I guess this is where all the accessories are. So now you get the PlayStation camera, which is also in the same color scheme as the system. This is the DualShock 4 controller, and it's got the, again, got the rainbow color of the PlayStation logo here. Very, very nice. Always been a big fan of the DualShock 4, but again, this one has been literally sitting in my closet for 6 years. And one thing to note is it's got the PlayStation buttons indented on the touchpad here, which looks really, really awesome. I love that. And if we compare this to an original PlayStation controller, you can see that the color schemes are actually very, very similar. It's not quite the same color, but it's very, very close. And then moving on, we have all these little cool compartments. We've got some manuals here, quick start guide, and the safety information. And then we pull this out, and I'm assuming this is a bunch of cables. So we have power cable, for the headphone and microphone for the Dual Shock 4, USB cable and an HDMI cable. Now this is not something you normally get with a PlayStation system. This is a stand, so we can mount the system vertically if we should choose to do so, which just lifts out like this. And this is the glossy part that is kind of a fingerprint magnet. And again, we've got the rainbow colored PS logo. So if we compare this to the original PlayStation, you can tell that Sony really put a lot of care and attention into this anniversary edition. The color scheme is close, but it's probably not quite right. And maybe it just has to do with my PlayStation system, you know, being used over the years. Maybe it's faded a couple of shades of gray, I'm not sure, but look, it looks really, really nice. And putting it right next to the original PlayStation does really make this system pop. It's a beautiful looking system. Now, because this is a regular PlayStation 4, you don't really get anything too special on the back here. You've got your AC adapter, you've got your optical audio, you've also got your HDMI in, you've got your Ethernet port, as well as the port for the PlayStation camera. But really, there's nothing too special about the system other than just the fact that it's a limited edition PlayStation 4. Now, this system did come out in 2014, and I am curious as to what version of the firmware this is running, because anything that's below 7.5 should be exploitable. Now, this system should be exploitable by definition, but let's go ahead and plug it in and see what is actually going on. As you can see here, the system works fine, and it wants me to connect the DualShock, which I've just done. Let's get this set up, and I'm just going to skip over all this stuff, at least for now, and accept the license agreement. Start now. Okay, so let's see what firmware that we're on here. User 1, and this does look pretty old, so let's jump in here and go to settings and take a look at the system and then the system information. And wow, this is a 1.76 firmware PS4. This is old. I didn't realize it was going to be that old. I felt like maybe it was in the 2s or the 3s, but this is actually a very old firmware PS4. So I want to make sure that a game works, and I'm going to try Infamous Second Son. This is a pretty old game. I don't know what version of the firmware it's going to ask me to update to, but I'm feeling pretty confident that it's a low firmware. Definitely not 1.76, but it's something that should be, I think, probably around the 3 firmware mark, or it may even actually let me run this game without anything else. Now, one other thing that I'm curious about is just making sure that the CMOS battery is still working. I think it should be, but I haven't powered the system on ever. So there's always something there that, you know, could be interesting there. But let's see what happens if I launch Infamous. Now, it wants me to update now or later. I'm not going to update now. Let's see if I can get away with playing the game. It actually looks like it's going to work. So this is running on 1.76 firmware, but as you saw, it was downloading 8.5 firmware. Now, we're not going to allow the system to actually use that. So it looks like Infamous Second Son is a bust. It doesn't seem to work on the 1.76. So let's go ahead and try another game. And this is another one that may work for us, and this is the Order 1886. This game wants me to update to 2.03, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's see what happens if it tries to update to 2.03 here. So now it's letting me update to 2.03, so let's go ahead and let that happen. I'm going to go ahead and take the 2.03 update, and I do wonder if it's going to let me play Infamous, but we'll update to 2.03. I definitely don't want to update to 8.5. I want to keep this as low as possible, maybe install the kind of legendary 5.05 firmware for hacking and modding and running exploits. But I also have a exploitable PlayStation 4 anyway, so there's really no desire to keep this at a lower firmware, just other than the fact that it would be nice to have another system that is exploitable. But in any case, here is the 2.03 system software update, but all said and done, everything seems to be working fine. Now, of course, we're talking about last generation, and it's just amazing how much slower things are. When you have the modern consoles of the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, and I think we were so much more tolerant of waiting around for things to happen on consoles like this. You know, installing a software update, takes, 5 minutes or so. And after this portion, there's a reboot that needs to happen to kind of complete the install. On the Xbox, it was very much the same thing. And we're very, very fortunate to live in an age of fast SSDs and faster download speeds where things can get applied so much quicker. I don't necessarily remember the launch games that came out with the PlayStation 4. In fact, I probably don't have those games on hand with me, but I do think that Infamous and the Order 1886 were pretty early on in the piece. In fact, if you take a look at the Order 1886 inside the case, there is a little flyer here for Bloodborne, which is March 24th, 2015. And man, I can't believe Bloodborne came out in 2015. I'm not sure if that actually got delayed or not, but that seems like such a long time ago now that Bloodborne was released. Okay, so we're just rebooting back into the PlayStation 4 with the 2.03 firmware, and hopefully this will allow us to play some games. And yep, everything looks like it's working great. We've got our low firmware 20th anniversary PlayStation 4 running 2.03, and we can successfully start a game here, which is the Order 1886, which is definitely a guilty pleasure of mine. I'm a big fan of the Order 1886, and I was always a little bummed out that there was no sequel that was ever released for this game, but that looks like it's working quite well. And I still think the graphics really hold up even in 2021. It's just a beautiful looking game. It's just a shame that it's just so short in size. And this is a game that I think really does start taxing your fans, and I can already hear the fans of the system here really starting to spin up now. So there it is, after almost 7 years, unboxing and powering on a 20th anniversary PS4. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode in the comments below, and if you liked it, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye for now.